So what do you think of all that, huh? Is it over the top, maybe a little too much? Hey, everybody else is doing it. They cook up these intros and everything, so I thought I'd do one up too. And actually, it makes it a little easier on me because I can do all my dial turning and button pushing, getting everything going after the countdown while that thing is running instead of having to sit here looking dumb at the microphone trying to make sure if I got everything working right. So hopefully everybody can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know. Please, I think it's going out. Let me just take a quick look over here at the mixer. Yeah, it looks like it's going out, and that's great. And let me say hi to everybody that's here so far. We're just getting started. Timeless Truths, Pond and More. How you doing, guys? You were here right off the bat. And Gary Turncoat, my friend Gary, who actually makes plans to go and do something else when my show is on. And I don't know, fair weather friends, but nah, Gary. Kidding with you. Gary usually bails me outright, comes into the chat, so I don't have to sit here talking to myself. Who else we got? Craig Yarker down there. Mad Kiwi, how you doing, man? Now it's flooded. All we hear about is fires and floods and volcanoes and earthquakes and man. And here in Florida today was 85 degrees, which I had to turn my air conditioner on, which is really kind of ridiculous. But we got another a cold, it was 40 something degrees the other morning, and this is typical for winter in Florida. We got a big front coming through. It's been through most of the southeast so far, and supposed to come through tonight, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, they're calling for some pretty big storms. All right, going down the list, Kiwi, Pondamore, Brand Ariels, got you, Vidar Lervang. How you doing, my friend? Thanks for coming in. It appears that if you had been here before, I missed you because you don't have your blue jeans on there. So I'll tell you what, my friend, welcome to the show, and let me go ahead and give you a blue wrench so you can fit in with everybody else, and we'll recognize you the next time. And we have Lloyd, the grumpy vlogger. How you doing, Lloyd? Good to see you. Lloyd says, yeah, that's why he has a timer and an intro. Yeah, I never realized it. But I thought it'd be kind of fun, and if I don't get some people in here to talk to, I may just be playing that intro over and over and over again to kill the time. And we got Paul, Phantom Hodges Drone. How are you? How are you doing, my friend? Thanks for coming in. Okie Tom. Hi, Okie Tom. Not 85 degrees here, is it, Lloyd? So Okie Tom knows Lloyd, and Okie Tom also needs a blue wrench. So there you go. Next time you post, you'll be blue like the rest of us. And what, did I miss something? Did Gary ask Lloyd to come in and help me out? And Lloyd says he would, but he's watching the oven for Judy's dinner. You know, I'm beginning to feel a little like Tom Sawyer here, trying to get people to help me paint the fence. And I guess I'm not doing such a great marketing job at it, but so it's been quite a week. Lloyd, I try not to talk politics on these things, but when you have a week like you had this week, you almost have to talk politics. And in some respects, and I thought about just doing a complete rant about the whole thing, but it wouldn't do any good. One of the things that we're facing in our drone hobby right now is, of course, the proposed rulemaking by the FAA. And they come out with, been a crazy week for sure. That's true. Oh, look at this. Somebody really felt sorry for me. Either that, or because I started to talk politics, he figured he better jump in here and stop me.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, Gary.
Oh, no,
how you doing, my?
No politics. Gee. How you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing good. I keep saying if I was any better, it'd be illegal.
If I was any better, I'd be twins.
Okay. If you were twins, you'd be twice as good.
Well, if I was twins, one of us could go to the concert, the other one could stay here with you.
Stay here, yeah. Oh man, well, I got Feast or Famine here. I got Ed from Love My Drones has popped up here, so
okay, yeah, bring him in.
Let's bring in Ed, and
I can't stay long anyway.
Okay, hey, Ed, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. I got the excavator.
The what?
The excavator. I went through the excavator.
I don't even know what that is.
Sure, you know what an excavator is.
Well, it's a machine that digs dirt.
Yeah.
And you went through.
It's got an arm like this, and I went through it.
Oh, you went through it. Oh, okay, I get it now. You flew through the excavator.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been talking about that for the last 5 days.
Oh man, well we need to see video. We need to see footage. While you're trying to think about that, I'm going to bring Steve Carpenter in.
Hey,
that's Steve here. Hey, Steve Carpenter, my friend from
the
Good
the land
afternoon.
of the fruits and nuts. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing good. Just got home. I've been listening to the broadcast on the way here. I was laughing my butt off. Everybody hops in right now.
That's
The
okay.
floodgates. I opened the floodgates. So
Yeah, Gary did. Yeah. So how you doing out there, Steve?
Doing good. Beautiful sunny winter day and mid to upper 60s.
Cool. You know we've had strange weather. We had great weather here for a couple days, and Monday and Tuesday, and it was so good I had to go out and fly. And Ed, you know, if in case you noticed, I'm starting to get a little braver myself. I'm flying down between trees now, and so the key is to just get out and do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ed, we're supposed to get some big weather here through tonight.
Yeah.
You should get it a couple hours before I do.
you getting a foot of snow?
No, but you know,
Right,
big winds, and you know they keep calling for this stuff.
Yeah.
Small chance of
tornado
a tornado.
watches, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a front. There's a big front coming down across the country. It's been windy as hell here all day. It's blowing like crazy outside. Just 30 miles an hour, constant, but not flying weather. You guys talk. Let me take a look at the chat, see if I've missed anything.
Yeah, I hear I was texting back and forth with Sean Oz, and they have a storm that came in today, and there's supposed to be quite a bit of coming in by tomorrow for them up in Colorado area.
Well, this storm that is coming this way, I think went through there a couple days ago, because it's hitting through. It's going through the southeast now. But you know what? They make a big deal. I don't know if they need to, in order to get view hours on their newscast, they need to make a crisis out of virtually everything.
Well, they do that. But the thing is, the spring storms can be nasty because look at how warm it got today. And it's a cold front coming in. And when that cold air hits that hot air, crazy stuff can happen. So.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of convection and a lot of thunderstorms. But it happens all the time. It happens, even in the middle of sometimes a storm will whip up just on a summer afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
That'll blow a tree down, I mean, and then it goes away and everybody said, what the hell was that? So we'll see. I don't know. It's supposed to come by my neighborhood tonight at between 1:30 and 2 a.m. So you being 100+ miles north of me should get it a couple hours before, but we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Been
How
a
long-
wild week.
How long's supposed to be over you guys? Any
About
prediction?
30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes.
Oh,
It's just one line, and you see them on the map, a line, and it's got a lot of red in it, and it's just moving
Yeah.
about 30 miles an hour, and half an hour after it's gone, the clouds are already starting to go away. So it's just a line of storms. Yeah, it's not like we're going to have a hurricane or anything where we have to hunker down for a week.
right.
But you do want to make sure the trash cans aren't sitting out where they'll blow around, because you could get gusts of 60, 70 miles an hour like you do in any thunderstorm.
We've
But-
had some Santa Ana wind conditions here earlier this week where it got a little bit warmer during the day, but overnight we've been getting some frost warnings and freeze warnings inland, not so much here on the coast, but inland. So we've had some cool nights, which is a change, and we're supposed to. I'm hoping, not two fingers, just one hand crossing. We're supposed to get rain coming in on Sunday and Monday.
Oh, you haven't had rain out there for a while?
We've been quiet for probably about coming on 4 weeks. Almost nothing.
Wow. So you've been doing any flying?
I was going to today. In fact, I had my drone with me. I took it to work, and then I got caught up and I couldn't fly, but I will tomorrow. It's supposed to be clear and less wind. In fact, I left my drone at at the building, so I don't have to remember to bring it with me. It's there waiting for me when I head over there in the morning.
Good. I'm hoping probably not tomorrow. It'd probably be pretty breezy tomorrow after the storm, but I think on this weekend ought to be really nice. And you know what's happened is, and it's interesting. And we'll talk about. I wanted to talk a little bit about my upcoming live stream. I was going to title it "You Don't Have to Be Crazy, but." Yeah. Rick Halbert has suggested a name for me, and I wanted to kind of nail that down because in the next, I think tomorrow I'll probably whip up a little introductory video for it. I did.
Is it something that can be mentioned on live stream YouTube? A name for you?
Well, yeah, that'd be kind of the idea because I don't want to start out X-rated before we even fire up the stream, but be interesting. I did, I watched a few days ago. I watched that video of Ken Heron and Kelly trying to fly that thing, scared the crap out of, and I said to myself, like I do. Ken Heron in that video, at the end of the video, said, if anybody wants to help me, I really want help. Okay, so he's saying, I really want help. I really want help. So I said, well, geez, maybe this little Sunday night live stream of mine might be something that Ken Heron might want to participate in, because this is exactly the kind of person it's for. Somebody that's flown camera drones and really, and can even halfway start to fly an FPV drone, but is totally and completely lost when it comes to all the intricacies of building it and programming it and flashing it and beta flight and all the different settings and targets. So I actually sent him an email. I sent Ken an email to his Ken Heron Uploads, and I sent him a link to that email that I posted on Tuesday, which probably had me walking for about half of it and flying for about half of it.
Right.
And the flying that I did in that email was with this little thing, this little 3-inch. You've seen it before, the little 3-inch Acrobrat with the DJI system.
Right.
And it was smooth and very, very controllable. And I in that flight, I actually felt more relaxed and more comfortable flying the FPV drones. And it dawned on me that this is what happens when you reach a certain point. Ed, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
You reach a certain point where you pick up the transmit, and this happens in RC flying too. It happened to me 50 years ago in RC flying, where all of a sudden I decided that I was the one in charge of this little operation, not the other guy, not the airplane, but me, not the drone, but me. I was.
It just clicks.
It does, and it just hits you. Say, I'm telling you where to go. I'm not just playing catch up with you.
Yeah.
trying to correct all the crap that you keep doing without my intentions, and that's a very real event when you're learning how to fly.
Would you consider that being proactive instead of reactive?
Well, exactly.
That's
It's
a good way
exactly
to put
what
it,
it is.
Steve.
Exactly, and you gain, and it hit me this week like that. Now it had hit me on the simulator way back when I first started. I was in charge, but having the real drone up there, especially when you're flying towards yourself going to land, knowing that buzzsaw is coming at your neck, you want to have some confidence. But I really felt that it clicked for me this week, and it took a hell of a lot longer than I ever would have estimated, especially with the amount of experience I've had with RC. I have thousands of hours of RC stick time. None of it made any difference once I put those goggles on. It is an entirely and completely different world. Now, I can take that drone and take the goggles off and fly it around like an airplane line of sight with complete control and confidence. Put the goggles on. It's a whole different world, and
Yes.
it's very easy. Ed will tell you this too. It's very easy to get frustrated, give up, and say this hobby isn't for me.
Yeah.
And
I,
I think
I've never flown an FPV, and that's why, and I have one here that has yet to be flown. And Jerry Calverley was so gracious at Spin Up. He brought like 8 sets of goggles for me to try on to see, because I wear glasses, and to wear over the top of, be able to fit over the top of them. And when he was flying that drone, he had his goggles on, and then I was connected to him, watching him fly. It was like, holy crap, this is.
Yeah.
I actually held on, and I was in the dugout area where you saw those people flying on that Sunday, where a lot of people had shown that. I was standing there, and all of a sudden I started moving, and I actually grabbed onto the post going into the dugout so I can make sure I wasn't going to go anywhere.
well, that's what happens. It's very easy to to lose your to get disoriented in those things. Now, I will tell you that when you're flying, when you're the one, it's like driving and riding as a passenger. A lot of times when you drive a car, you're fine, but if you get in the passenger seat, you get a little car sick. But when you're in control, you generally don't get.
Yeah.
Same thing with flying, and this is true. Same thing is true of flying full scale aircraft. I never ever got airsick when I was the pilot, but I sometimes got a little queasy as a passenger. And when I was a flight instructor for a while, and especially with these kids trying to learn how to fly all over the friggin' place, it was rough. It was rough to not get sick, but. You'll find that, Steve, that when you pick up the stick and you start flying, that'll go away. Another thing that I do is, for 2 reasons. I like to just sit down when I fly. And one of the reasons I like to sit down is because it keeps me looking in the direction I want to be looking. I'm not wandering all over the place, turning around and changing the direction of my antennas on my goggles. And the second reason is I'm old and lazy, and it's comfortable, and it's much more fun to just fly with my ass on a seat
Yeah.
than
I
standing
need
up.
a neck brace when I fly.
Do you really? Well,
Okay, I keep bowing my head. I look like Ray Charles when I'm flying.
oh, yeah, it's easy to do that because you got the sticks down here close to your lap, and the tendency, because that's where you're pretty much concentrating on, even though you're looking in the goggles, the tendency that you see a lot of guys is to lower their heads and look down. Whether it's because the transmitter's there or not, I don't know, but that seems to be the tendency. Let me say hi to John Cuppy is in here. How you doing? And I think I got everybody else already. We got a couple new people. Drone shots, Jody. Where the hell you been, man? I'm going to worry about you.
I'm going to have to let you go, Mitch. I got to get moving here. So we'll catch you on Sunday or next week.
All right,
Hey,
but it'd probably be better if I let you go.
Okay. You let
All
me.
right, I'll let you go. Okay, because I'm staying. You're going.
Okay. I'm leaving.
Have a good
Bye
time
now.
at the concert, buddy. Take
Yes.
it easy.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Gary.
Bye. Oops, what did I do? There we go. Okay. I clicked the button on Gary to get him out of the thing just as soon as he disappeared, and I got you instead, Ed. Sorry about that. That's like trying to shoot a moving target. Bob Casey's here. How you doing, Bob? Bob calls me Professor Mitch. I'm back to that. We were going to talk about what a good name, what might be a good name for my Sunday
Well,
live
well,
stream.
you started out with a title, and you said, what was it again? What
I
did you
don't
say earlier?
I don't remember.
You said something like, you don't have to be
Oh,
crazy.
you don't have to be crazy, but yeah, that's
I
that's
was
the
going
overall.
to say you could do like 3 dots and then have it help.
No, I was just joking about being crazy about wanting to do 2 live streams a week, but I really enjoy them. And I don't know if you you've seen the studio. It's been in the picture. I've made a video about it, but I walk by this thing, every day, and I basically been using it for other than for editing, 2 hours a week. And I said, it's a shame I don't use this more. Now I'm not crazy enough to want to do anything every day, but I figured a couple times a week because the a lot of the times we wander off into those tech areas on this stream, but I thought that it would be fun to, and I've had a lot of encouragement from a lot of guys, and I didn't think there were that many guys our age, older guys, that really wanted to get into FPV, and it's amazing to me how many guys do. And one of the things that about it is that compared to flying camera drones, it's a blast. It's just pure fun because you're actually flying around. And when you do get to the point where you can project yourself into the drone through the goggles and you have to stop thinking about it, it is as close to flying, and I've done a lot of it that anybody can imagine. But the process.
I tell everybody that you will never feel more like a bird.
Exactly, and people say that they do with the Mavic drones, and you do because you are perched up there. But it's more like a camera perched in the air than a flying machine. Now you can fly them. You can throw it in sport mode, push the stick all the way forward and fly around and all. It's just with the stabilized, even when throwing the gimbal into the FPV mode is fun because at least it allows the gimbal to bank a little back and forth. But it just isn't the same. And in order to experience it, you have to do it. But my goals, my own personal goals for FPV flying are not similar to most guys because mostly it's a younger person hobby. When you look at the majority of the FPV kids, and I call them kids, they're young people covered with tattoos. They're rebellious. They're hot rodders, the skateboarders. They're the millennials. And younger. They're video gamers. They come to it from video gaming. You look at some of these kids, 14, 15 years old, they're naturals to learn this stuff. But to them, it's not about soaring and beauty. It's about Evel Knievel kind of stuff. Who can fly the fastest through the smallest gap without turning their drone into 5,000 pieces?
Yeah, see, and I don't like the 5,000 pieces part.
I don't either, but a lot of these kids are young. They got their mommies and daddies are paying for it, or they live at home. They don't have to pay rent. They're given a car. They're given everything. Every dime they earn, they can spend on these things. And when you're young, you just don't have it seems like anything that takes money there's just an ever-ending supply of it anyway. So if I wreck this one, another one's going to show up. We don't have that same philosophy when you get to our age because we know if we wreck this one, we got to go out and buy another one, or get this one fixed. But I just think that it's different for us. So I thought it would be fun to help to try to and I'm doing this with and I won't play my disclaimer that I always play, but with the greatest of disclaimers, and that is and I almost thought, who am I to think that I might do something like this, as new as I am at the FPV hobby, considering there are so many people that know so much that have been at it for such a long time.
Yeah.
But I said, EBR is here. How you doing? I said, well, I think that how do I want to put this? There may be people who are saying, hey, old guy, who the hell you think you are?
No, I don't think so. Nobody gives me a bunch of crap. I'm no spring chicken either.
Let me bring Carlos. Carlos is here. Hey there, buddy. How you
Oh
doing?
Lord,
Say hello to you, and I'll get back. I'll get back to my little speech here. I didn't want you to leave you sitting
That's all right. Go back
in the room.
Go back to the speech. I was-
So
Hello, Steve. Hello, Ed.
I just
You don't want to crash a quad, and I don't
no,
blame you.
no. What I'm saying is I don't want to be FPV know-it-all. What is that
Oh,
noise?
that part. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, you're not
see-
an FPV,
see,
though.
here's
We're
the
all
thing,
learning
man.
it together.
Mitch.
What?
Just
Well, yeah.
remember,
Let me.
man. Look, the Mr. Steels and the Bardwells and all that. I hardly ever watch them.
They do
you know,
put out
I-
some good stuff.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that some people relate better to people that are fairly new to the hobby because we don't get too technical. If you
Well,
know what I
that's
The
how
other thing, can I add
Russ
something?
said. Let me
add
finish
something
my
real
yeah.
quick, is
Go ahead.
I
go
don't
ahead.
have to give a $5 super chat, and I can actually talk to you and get you to stop for a second and answer a question instead of having 300 or 400 people in a chat.
Yeah,
zooming
and that's
down.
the point I was going to make is that
So
is that
that's
the
the biggest thing.
Bardwells and the Steels are not accessible. You can't.
No.
They're too busy to chat. So I thought,
Right.
not without hope that someday I might grow this into something, but I thought that with what I do know, and what maybe some people who come into the chat and watch the stream know more than I do, that as a community we might figure out some of the stuff or give good advice to people who are want to start out about how to start out and what kind of equipment to use, but especially in the technical areas, which at this point I'll almost match my skills against some of the guys that have been at it a long,
Well, there
long
you go.
time.
Well, you've
When it comes to Betaflight and iNav and programming those things, I have learned those things, and PID tuning and filters, and I know that stuff now. Maybe
Well,
not.
I mean, the thing is, you played around with computers and were building them a long time ago, and it all ties in together.
Yeah,
Excuse
it really does. And I've built and I love to build stuff. I've built more airplanes, model airplanes and things. So I do have a depth of some experience. So I'm not ashamed to say maybe I can help. And if it works, EBR says Bardwell is accessible. If you send him an email and a question, he answers, no money involved. And that's absolutely true because I did that once. Okay, I actually did. When I was building my DJI goggles and was going to put the analog mod on, the thing on the outside, and the analog mod has the plug, this plug that plugs into the back here, and that plug, nowhere could I find any information about what the configuration of the plug was. I knew it was a 3.5-inch headphone looking plug, but was it a TRS, a TRRS? You all know what that means? Okay, if you look at a headphone jack, sometimes it's got a tip and then a ring and then a sleeve. Sometimes it's got a tip, a ring, another ring, and a sleeve. iPhones usually use the TRRS. Okay, that's it's got room for 2 audio channels and a video channel.
And
You know
the
what I
S
mean?
probably stands for small.
No, the S stands for shield. So T
Oh,
means
okay.
T means tip, which is the very tip of the thing. Ring is one of the connectors that goes around the center. So a TRS has a tip, a ring, and a sleeve. The sleeve is the base, which is could be the ground, doesn't have to be the ground.
Probably the ground.
A TRRS has a tip, 2 rings, and a sleeve.
sleeve.
So that's
Gotcha.
what that means, TRS or TRRS. But there is no standard configuration on either of these plugs as to which is ground, which is video, which is left, which is right. Every manufacturer, it seems, from Apple to Samsung, wires their plugs differently. Which is why when you buy some of these accessory cables for these stupid things, they won't work.
Yeah,
you try to plug an Apple headphone into a Samsung, and nothing works right because it's all screwed. So, knowing all this, I said, okay, there's a 3.5-inch jack in this set of DJI goggles, and it says it has a little headphone symbol, but it also says AV in, but no hint as to whether it's a 3-connector plug or a 4-connector plug. And if it is either one of those, no hint, not on any of DJI's literature, not anywhere that I could find on the internet, nothing. Okay, because this was before they had released this mod that I finally did, and there was a little picture that gave you a clue. So I wrote to Joshua Bardwell, and I said to him, Joshua, I'm modifying. Now he had done a mod on his goggles, but the mod came with a pre-made cable, I think, that had all this. So I said to him, the AV-in jack on the DJI goggles, is it a TRS? Is it a TRRS? And which point on the connector does the video go to, and which point is ground? So he writes me back and he says,
Good question.
really can't help you. I just used the plug that I used with my Fat Shark goggles.
All right, so that
Okay, but he answered me at least. But he didn't help me. Okay, I mean, he didn't help me because he didn't know. And so I said, Fat Shark goggles, Fat Shark goggles. So I started. No, it's a T. No, that's not a 3.5-inch headphone jack. That's a 12-volt DC.
It's a Fat Shark goggle one.
No, the Fat Shark goggle also has an audio AV into it as well, I think.
All right, let me shut up.
I started trying to figure out where the Fat Shark goggles were. And what I finally did was I just took the plug and took the video composite signal and just tried every combination of everything until it worked. And that's how I found out what went where. And I finally got it figured out. But it took me days of work to figure out something because nobody, not DJI, Fat Shark, not anybody anywhere I could find actually had the pinouts for those kind of things. So, Joshua's a great guy. He knows all kinds of stuff. He probably knows everything in the world except the one thing that I needed to know.
So sick.
But I will. But I have to give EBR I have to tell him that it is true. He will help you. He honest to God, he will help you. You don't have to pay him. If you want his attention when he's doing his 2-hour live streams, that's the best way to get his attention, or become a Patreon of his. And I don't blame him. The guy, like Ken Herron, is making a living at this now.
Mm-hmm. When you see his chat rolling, man, it's a wonder he sees anything anybody says.
Ed says, I feel good about stumping him. No, Ed, I don't feel good about stumping him. I would have much rather had him say, here's how it's wired.
Yeah.
would have saved me a couple of days of pulling what hair I got left out of my head.
But he was honest and truthful about it. And
He was. And Mel is in the chat room. Hi, Mel. How you doing, buddy? Everybody say hi to Mel. He's not on the stream here. But he is in the chat room. So.
And I apologize for that noise with my phone ringing. That was Ron Lockwood. He was calling me back, and he sends his wishes from Pennsylvania from
okay, good.
The Great Outdoors Sportsman Show. I should have turned it around and shown it live, because they were showing the booth with all the mounts that they have there. It was unbelievable.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Maybe he'll do a live stream from there. And Ray Kelly's here. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I'm going to try to.
So that was my adventure with Joshua, and so we'll start doing this thing now. Rick Halber suggested that I call it like FPV Sunday with Mitch. I don't hear excitement.
It's kind of long.
It's kind of
FPV.
it's good, but it doesn't roll real smooth.
It doesn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it probably should have old guy in it because that's my brand, old guy.
How about Sunday FPV talk with old guy or with Mitch or
That's longer
That's
than the
kinda
first thing.
long, too.
Yeah.
no? But I'm just saying. But Sunday, the FPV Sunday or Sun, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I kind of like that FPV Sunday, whether old
was
guys FPV Sunday or something like that. I want to get the name old guy in there because that's my channel brand.
That's yeah. Got to
That's
coin
my
that
channel.
somewhere.
Yeah. So at any rate, I was kind of hoping I'd get a little help from you guys, but you're basically collectively useless here.
Damn.
Or just Sundays with old guy.
Yeah, old guy FPV, old guy. Well,
FPV
old guy
with an old guy.
FPV.
Forget the Sunday. How about FPV Sunday with old guy? Something like that.
Yeah, I could do that. Just call it FPV Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with
Or
old
with old guy.
not just any old guy, but the old guy.
The oldest guy.
The oldest. No, I'm not the oldest guy. I'm not the oldest guy. FPV professor,
Did you
Mel
say-
says. Well, I don't want it to sound too presumptuous on my part.
Yeah,
I don't-
pretentious.
I don't want to use the word expert or any of or know it all or any of that kind of stuff. I want it to be.
There are too many
Modest.
other people out there doing that. You don't want
Yeah.
to get that stigma.
And and I am modest about that. It may not seem that way, but I
Instead of like Dr. Mitch, can we put Nurse Mitch FPV?
no nurse Mitch, no nurse Mitch, Doctor Allright. Nah, I think FPV Sunday is probably FPV Sunday might be the best way
Yeah.
to go.
That-
And then what
that's-
I want to do is I want you guys to I want to start to attract people that are trying to get started in this thing, so we might actually help somebody or learn something. And I've
Hey,
and I-
wait,
Go ahead, Ed.
never mind.
I know the
Ray
first-
said
one of the
something,
first commands
and
I
he
wanna
said,
learn.
Drones and coffee like cars and coffee.
drones
I'll
and
tell
coffee.
you
Well,
what,
that sounds.
I've had too much coffee when flying a drone, and you can see my drone doing this because my throttle finger is twitching.
That's the
Thank you,
first
Mel.
battery. That's why.
Mel
It's the
says that
first-
you think professors know everything. No, actually, I don't. I think that the people who think they're the smartest usually have the most to learn.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that first pack shake, Ed, when you go out there.
I think the FPV Sunday, because we know who you are, and
Yeah.
it's going to be on your channel, and all you're doing is just giving it the name. I think that FPV Sunday would be good.
All right. Well, we'll start with that. And
Short,
I want to say
short and sweet.
short and sweet. I want to say hi to Drone Kings, and Darwin is here. We're starting to get some an international flavor to our show. That's good.
Anyway, one of the first commands I want to learn, Mitch, with the CLI is to be able to tell the quad when it lands or when it's not flying to go down the VTX to go down to like 25 milliwatts.
Yeah, that's easy.
Oh, there you go.
I know how to do that. I know how to do that.
I
I'm
know
not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you tonight. You're going to have to tune in Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, what a lot of people don't realize, and we'll talk a lot about Betaflight and about what the CLI actually is. But I'll tell you this little bit. What a lot of people don't realize is that anything that you change in any of the graphical interfaces, in any of the tabs on Betaflight,
You can do on CLI.
well, no, it changes the CLI, the commands. It changes the actual commands. you hit, in other words, if you change the small angle from 25 degrees to 180 degrees, you know what that is.
Oh,
small
okay, the
angle.
arming angle.
Yeah, if you change it in the little window that says 25, if you go into the CLI and say get the small angle, it'll tell you it's 180.
Yeah.
In other words, it knows what you changed it to. So you have the option of changing any parameter in Betaflight, either with a graphical interface if they've created one, or with a CLI. Either one,
Mitch, is
because the
CLI
results
the
the
same?
results the results are the same. The CLI is a command line interface, much like
Yeah.
Is that like
much like-
dots?
yeah, like programming a computer. Before Windows, there was DOS, but basically everything that you can do with a graphical interface, there's a command line instruction to tell the machine to do the same thing. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand about the CLI, is it's not anything separate
Right.
from everything else you're programming, the PIDs, the rates, the filter settings, all that. It's just a manual command line way
Different
of
way of getting
changing
in.
those values. Now, there are some values, especially in iNav, that they haven't developed a graphical interface for them yet. That doesn't mean the settings aren't there and don't have to be set. And in Betaflight, I'll give you an example. One of the areas that they could program a user interface for, but it's used so infrequently that it doesn't pay, is the resource mapping. And resource mapping means assigning certain outputs of the processor to different pins or pads that are on the board itself. And the time, for example, you might need resource mapping is if you're using smart port telemetry on an F4 and you have no inverted. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here with all this technical stuff. But you have to go into the command line in that case and execute 2 or 3 different command line entries to make it work. There is no graphical interface for things like that yet. So these are some of the kind of things that we want
That's for an
to talk
airplane,
about.
right? You
No,
were just talking about?
no, that's for a quad. Yeah.
Yeah?
For a quad.
Oh.
Yeah. Because, well, let's save that stuff, that kind of talk for Sunday,
Sunday.
because I don't want to bore.
And how long is it going to
But I'll be able,
to
to show you. Well, however long it goes, I'll
Okay.
be able to show you on the screen as we talk about this. That's the thing. We'll be showing the actual hardware, and if we have to wire things or solder things, or it's going to be a workshop kind of a event. And I do want to have panels. I do want to have people in here, especially people that we're trying to help with something, so we can walk them through things. Maybe having problems figuring out how to set up a radio the right way, or like I did that time with Mel, where we got that quad of his all ready to go.
Right. Hey, Steve. See my rings of death back there?
We saw them.
I
Yeah,
don't think Steve's seen it yet.
I saw the last video that I commented on that last
I've
video
seen
that
it
you
up
put
before,
up.
Carlos.
Oh, you were? Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, we did.
I think this is
So,
the last week. Figure out where to put it somewhere else.
And then I think the one disclaimer you should put in there, Mitch, when you're talking about your CLI and anything, because I come from when I used to program, same thing, and DOS and BASIC. All it takes is one little error during your code, and guess what?
Yeah.
Well, the thing, the
The CLI says it doesn't recognize it. It'll say error if it's wrong.
yeah, but here's one of the,
Oh, it does?
main uses. Here's
Yeah.
one of the main things that I find myself always using the CLI, and that is for a dump of the settings, so that when you flash a newer version of the firmware, you can just, through the CLI, restore the entire batch of settings that you have. Okay, and we'll show. This is another thing we're gonna show. I'm gonna show people how to do, and that is, we're gonna talk about how the philosophy behind the different targets that are put out for all the different flight controllers in Betaflight, and how you can save off certain things, upgrade, flash your new firmware target to the latest, and then just restore everything instantly that you just backed up, and not have to set up the whole quad again every time you.
Oh,
you
I
know,
just
there's all-
did that recently.
Yeah, but you got to be careful because there's a lot of
Well, no,
caveats
not
in
well.
that.
Yes and no. What happened is I have that little silly that Tiny Hawk S, and with Smart Audio, I went into a channel that was locked, and Smart Audio lets you get into a locked channel, so I had no picture. So I had to. Thanks for Ed. He reminded me. I copied everything, and I restored factory settings, and I just pasted,
Pasted it back in. Yeah,
copied the model, blah blah blah, and it was all back. Came back.
good. Well, then you know how to do that, Ed.
Well, I learned by trial and error. I just learned on the job.
Mel wants to challenge me to a of FPV racing Velocidrone live. We did that once.
Oh, I don't.
Um,
Can he keep up with you?
Mel was doing pretty good in Velocidrone.
Really?
You know? Oh yeah, he was doing. But the problem is the problem I
Not
had
that he
with it
can't,
was,
but I'm just comparing the experience. That's why I said.
no, he was doing great in it. It's amazing. It's amazing how you can, you know, and I'm living proof of this. How you could be Sky King in a simulator and then be just scared out of your mind with the goggles on with the real drone.
Yeah.
I was
It is a
listening
learning
to you earlier
curve.
saying it finally clicked, or it started to click.
I think it has that. You know, I've thought of that it had a couple of times, but I really now look forward to it. I mean, I don't worry. I used to be, you know, when you first start out, launching the drone was something that was like, okay, here I go into the unknown. I'm just going to push this throttle up, and God knows what's going to happen, and I hope I'm fast enough to react to it, right? And to the point now where you just sit there and you go, okay, here we go. We're going to just take off, and you just take off, just fully under control. Now what do I want to do? I want to go forward a little bit, you know, or just turn around and hover right there looking at yourself. You know, when you finally get to the point where you have that kind of control, then you don't feel nervous. Now the thing for me is trying, not for the purposes of being cinematic, but just being smooth for the purposes of being smooth. Okay.
Well, because that's how a plane or a bird would fly.
Yeah.
Birds they don't fly with all these twists.
No, I don't like the flippity floppity crap either.
I mean,
Well, here.
a little bit, you know, a few, but one after
No,
the
but
other.
it needs
after
to
the
be
other.
smooth, not
Right.
herky jerky.
But not only that, but just one after the other, it just gets a little like, you know, you
Yeah.
almost start to get dizzy.
Well,
Here.
unfortunately, not all of us are as lucky as Mitch is to have such a large area to fly.
No, that's a true statement, Steve.
But
Yeah.
just you know, I just want to try to show you
But
is
you know,
the
Steve,
hardest
what's
part.
funny? Let me just say real quick. The funny part is the field that Mitch is flying at is not preferred by FPV flyers. Because
No,
there's
they
nothing to
want
fly
trees.
around.
Well, there
Yeah.
are trees there. There are trees
No, I know,
there.
but I mean that's the crazy part that I always say, that you can have the biggest flying field and FPV pilots will fly towards the trees and not towards the open
Oh
field.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying for a newbie to go fly though before
Oh, that's great.
you
Oh
go
yeah.
up to that, I mean that's wonderful.
Not
Yeah,
only
that's-
that, Steve, but it's also great for learning new maneuvers.
Right.
Give you extra space.
You know, because I've been lacking on my power loop simply because there's so much crap littered around where I fly. If I get 6 feet off the ground, I'm going to hit something.
Yep.
But this is the kind of stuff I like to do right here. And
Yeah,
that's nice
I'm starting
cruising,
starting to stretch
Yeah.
out a little bit now and go a little further and further away. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Go a little further and further away. And it's a big park, and I have the range with the DJI goggles, the video signal, and the range with my transmitter to fly clear to any corner of that park without a problem. And I'm
What lens
starting
is
to.
on that? What lens is on that quad?
I think it's the DJI FPV.
I'm
I think
surprised that it's so fisheye. It's like
you know what it is? It's fisheye because I've got
great,
the
though.
camera
See it?
angle kind of shallow, so I'm pointing. You know, in order to get faster, I've got the
Wow.
nose.
Oh.
I've got too much of the ground in the shot, so I need to raise the camera angle up a little bit, which will bring the horizon closer to the center.
Ray wants to know, Ray Kelly wants to know where that is, Mitch.
That's in Melbourne. not Melbourne, Palm Bay.
Oh, Palm Bay.
Palm
I
Bay.
said Palm Coast. I don't know
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Palm Bay. But see this
There you
here,
go.
right
Look,
here,
look, look.
through the trees, man, through the
I
Yeah,
trees.
saw
he did the trees. I saw
Let's
the trees.
watch. Let's watch that again. Let's watch
I
that
saw that
over.
when you did it the first
Let's
time.
watch that over and over. But this is the kind of stuff
Over
I'm
and
starting.
over.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this,
That's
man. Here we
nice.
come.
Very
Ed,
nice.
Ed,
Nice.
You know who
So I
reminds
mean,
me
it's
of,
nothing. It's really nothing in FPV parlance, but
That qualifies as a gap to me.
as a
man.
gap, just to be
Absolutely.
smooth.
It's a big one, but it's a gap
Yeah.
nonetheless.
I
But
think we should see that again.
you think so?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that again here.
You know what's funny, Mitch? Is when I first started flying drones, I avoided trees like
actually
the
looks
plague.
good.
Now I'm all in them.
Mitch, that looks good. That came out good.
I found out exactly where to put the mouse on this thing to click it and keep coming back.
That came
again.
out really good. No, that's
But,
good. And you know what? You were going pretty fast.
Well, yeah, that's the idea.
And
The
you
idea.
and you didn't panic. That was
Oh
good.
no! I can fly in the simulator. I'm flying through gates and
No, I
you
know.
windows and bandos
But
and
that's
I
what
mean
gets
this is
people into trouble. That little panic of that little jerk to the left or the
Yeah.
right because they feel they're going to hit and party's over.
well, and you also have to be ready to bail on it. You
Yes.
got to have an escape, and you'll see in a couple of these little moves where I was heading for the trees. I said, I don't want to have to do anything really crazy here to get through these trees. So let me go through the first tree and then just climb out of it.
Well, you know what they say. Don't look at the gap, look past it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh wow, Banggood just sent me a 74% coupon off of something I don't need.
What was it? A comb? No, just kidding.
I don't know. I get such crap from them, and then when you finally do see a sale price on something that looks really good, and you click on it, it doesn't work. It doesn't go anywhere. See now here, the first time I ran through that gap, I said, "Well, I'm not lined up with that tree, so let's just climb out of it." See, just climb over it. But
I think I
I'll
watched
tell
this all day.
you like this stuff. I want to start. I don't want to bore people with too much of it, but I think that for me, this kind of flying, this is the kind of flying where you feel like you're actually in the airplane.
But you could have thrown a few rolls, a few power loops in there, split S or two.
I could,
Yeah,
but
plenty
that's
of
not
room.
what. But I'm when I'm out there flying,
Mhm.
there's usually something in particular that I'm trying to concentrate on, and in this flight, the thing I was concentrating on, which eventually will become automatic for me, was trying to hold the bank into the turns.
Yeah.
Because when you bank into a turn and then you hit
Definitely.
rudder, it tends to level the bank back out. It's
Right.
very easy. So I wanted to keep that appearance of flying, which means that you can't just bank into a turn and then put in a little rudder. The minute you hit that rudder, the bank shallows.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of coordinating.
turn.
Like this turn right here, so during that turn, I was concentrating on keeping the bank angle the same as I went through the whole turn, and then purposely leveling out at the end of the turn. And that gives you the feeling that you're really flying. These level turns that we make, skidding around trees and things with rudder only, they get you facing the other way real quick, but they don't feel like flying like a bank does right here. See where you bank. So that's what I was doing on this particular day. I said, I'm
And
just
the
going to go
other
out there and I'm
thing
going to
too
try
is-
to make it look like it's
Yeah,
flying.
but the Blue Angels do roll wing overs and
But
Well,
from
they do
inside,
that.
but from inside of the cockpit, this is what you see when you're flying. See,
yeah.
now that's a flat turn. Did you see? And then and it didn't have the bank. So I want
But see, here's
the bank
the
and
other
back
deal
and forth.
too is once you roll some to the side, a little pitch back will bring the nose around too.
It
and-
does. It does. And the more bank angle you have, the
See,
more
I
the
think-
pitch
I think
brings
to
you
see it-
around.
To see a turn on the side like that and go all the way around, I like that.
You
The
can
flat
do that
ones.
if you turn sideways. Then it's all pitch bringing it around.
That's what I'm
'Cause
saying.
all
That was
all
what-
the yaw is going to do in a case like that is it's going to turn your nose up and
Yeah.
or down. So, and the same is true with an airplane. They call that bank and yank. When you're in a fixed wing airplane, you know what you're if you're really want to get around a corner fast, it's
Quick
a no
U-turn.
it's a no rudder deal. You bank that son of a gun over 90 degrees and pull on the rudder, and it comes around. And drones are similar in a certain respect.
Yeah.
But they don't have the lift on the wings that you have in an airplane that
Hey, you
affects.
got to create your own lift. And I think that's where the tune comes in.
You know what I mean. It is slightly. It is.
No,
a
I
little
know what
different.
you mean exactly.
Yeah, it is. It is a little different. So,
Mitch, you know Ed used to fly, right?
no, I didn't.
I
know
have a
that.
lot of time in small planes.
Do you really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I mean, I always when I fly the quad, I equate it to fixed wing terms all the time. It drives the quad guys crazy.
Is this going to be a roll? Yes, a roll. Look at that. Yeah. But the
But
idea
no,
is,
I,
you know,
I get the whole beauty of doing a bank versus the twitchy turns. I love to try and bank like a plane.
Yeah.
yeah, and it doesn't make you you don't get as sick watching it. I mean, I've gotten nauseous watching some of my own videos. You know, I say, "Holy
I don't like
cow,
flat
Mitch, what the
turns
hell?
personally.
The hell are you doing? What are you doing there?"
I don't like the
Oh.
flat turn, Mitch.
No, I like
This turn I like better.
I like
This one I
those
like
turns
better.
like that. Yeah, and what I want to, and this is the kind of stuff I want to practice, and I want to, you know, I want to fly through gaps and trees, but not changing direction every 2 seconds. You know, none of
Yeah,
this.
but even
Yeah.
like figure eights, stuff like that.
Can I
at any
show
rate.
something, Mitch?
What's that?
Can I show something?
Sure.
See if I can figure out how to do it.
Well, you need to hit the share button.
Excuse me a second, guys.
There's a button on there that says share screen. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Pick the screen you want to share.
Can you see it?
Did you share it? Because I don't see it. It didn't pop up here yet.
Hang on.
It should pop up in my green room. So who else we got in here? Drone games, drone shots. Night Train is here. Hey Mike, how you doing, buddy? DBR, Ray Kelly, love my drones. DBR, Mel's still
Mike
here.
has to take off already. That post is a while back.
Does it show now?
What's that?
Is it showing now?
No. You hit share screen, tell it what screen, and then I think you have to say share it. It
Yeah,
should,
you got to go down to the bottom down there, Ed, and then you click on the share screen, and it'll pop up with a pop-up box. It'll
I
open
got
up.
that. It says
And
you're
then
in the thing, and I went to share screen.
You pick the
Okay,
screen,
and
and then you say share.
oh, it won't let me do it.
Why not?
I think Mitch has to do something.
no, well, you got to share it, and then it pops up in my green room, and then I can do something.
Exactly.
Well, apparently I ain't doing something right.
See, okay, here, let me,
Hey, Ed, do you trying to show your excavator video?
I'm just trying to show the little short clip of me actually
Right.
going through it.
Maybe Mitch can just go to your channel and I think is it your last upload?
did you post it on your channel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your last upload. It's his last
Oh,
upload.
Okay, all right, hang on a second here. Let's see. Let me get myself back with you guys.
Steve
and-
Carpenter, are you even interested in FPV at all?
Yeah,
Are
I
you?
want to get into it. I just like I mentioned before. Mitch was asking me when they were busting my chops last week. I just been so busy with work and my mom
Oh, yeah.
being ill and stuff. I just haven't had the time.
I understand. Did you ever get goggles? The ones that Dan, I think, sent you? Did you ever?
I haven't got the goggles yet. I'm going to just try to get out first and fly. We have a little park just around the corner here from me. And I was going to take the bird out there and fly it first without it to kind of get used to flying it, where
That's
I can
hard.
keep a good visual on it.
That's
And
going to
then
be hard.
Mitch says, get a chair and sit down before I put the goggles on.
Oh, with the goggles, yeah.
You know, Mitch was talking about sitting down in a chair,
I
and
almost saw one.
I've almost fallen out of a chair a couple times.
Well, there you go,
Really?
Ed. Here,
Even out
let
of the
me-
chair, Ed?
This is the video, right?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, I'm not.
He has an excavator that it's like a backhoe, I guess, right? No,
It's a mini excavator.
you'll see the claw. He flies through it.
Okay.
This is all Ed. That was a split S there.
Yeah, I started
Another
to
one?
fool around with those for a couple, a minute.
It's
you know.
good to
You know what
change
I
that
like? I
reference
like
to you.
big ass power loops. Just
I
big
know,
power
and
loops.
I need to work on those, but you see all the crap I can run into down there, Mitch.
Well, that's why altitude is your friend.
I guess do a 50-foot power loop.
I'm waiting. I'm gonna do some power loops. I want to practice power loops the next time out. I
That's
can do it.
what.
No
Okay,
problem.
okay. See this path between this group of trees coming up
I mean,
to
like
the
the one
right
you
of
just
those
hit? Yeah.
RVs. That's what I want a power loop right through there.
Oh, I see the excavator arm there.
Right,
Yeah, that-
right through there. I want a power loop right through there.
Hello, Chris Hope. Hello, Rick Halber.
Hey, Rick Halber, Chris Hope. How you doing, guys? Brandon
All
right.
Rain. Hey,
Check
Brandon,
this
how
out.
you doing, young man? Let me.
Is it coming up, Ed?
And yes,
Yeah,
hello.
it's coming up right after I go through this hole.
Hey, that was
Look at
good.
him. Look at him
Very
go,
good.
man.
I'm
Easy
telling you
squeezy,
what,
he said.
that Spanish moss will take you out. Okay, here we go. Here comes the excavator.
He's going to do it a lot faster next time, he said.
Well, of
Yeah,
course, somebody else said, "Oh, now you got to power loop it."
Yeah, right. Nice. You made it. Can you replay that, Mitch? Look at that. Look at that. You made it.
Well
All
done.
right, hang on just a minute. Watch the end of it because you're almost done. Just to slow down, by the way. That's at 50%
Oh, okay.
speed. This is an example of what Spanish moss does to you hanging from the trees, Mitch.
Oh, I can bet that catches you like a spider web.
So you come in, I hit it right there.
Whoa!
And that was just enough time for the moss to wrap up around the motor and then it stopped.
Do you still have that piece in the house, in the place?
I went in the garbage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like a big piece of Spanish.
But I crowed about going through that excavator. I'm still crowing about it, and that was last Saturday.
I know the feeling. You're proud of it. Look, that just that little shit that I did. I'm proud of. But I mean, I've done big power loops way back, months. I mean, months and months and months ago. But I don't know why. I know how to do them. I can do them. But I take off and I fly with a certain thing in mind, and I want to concentrate on that. And that seems to be in the flight what I do. One of these days, I'll just stop thinking about it so much and just go up there and
Just
have a
have
good old
fun.
time. Yeah.
Really, you know what's weird is, Mitch? I meant to go down under the trees like I did. I had no intention of doing that excavator, and then I wheeled around it one more time like, damn it, I'm going to go for it.
Well, you should. You should. Although hitting Spanish moss is a lot easier on your drone
Yeah,
than
I concur.
running into a half-inch thick steel excavator arm.
Much.
That would certainly do it.
No, I've whacked it before, but that was the first attempt with a 5-inch, and I managed to squeak through there somehow. So.
Well, you know what I realized in flying this thing. Keep holding it up. This is
Acrobat.
the
That's a
Acrobat.
nice bird, by the way.
3 inches, And believe it or not, I actually can fly this with a 1300 4S. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big battery, but it fits on there. So I
Yeah.
just got them. I got a couple. Because I only had 650s, and 650s only gave me about 3 minute flight. It was ridiculous. So it was lighter, but I put one of these 1300s and took it out beside the house, and it flew great. I mean, it just took off like a rocket ship. So that'll give me
it's
about
amazing the weight they'll carry.
yeah, 7 or 8. Give me a 7 or 8 minute flight on that little thing. But it may very well be that we may not have to even worry. Oh, Steve, what you got
That's
there?
a Tyro, right?
Oh, I look,
It's an
looks fun.
X4 jet, Hudson.
Oh, okay.
It's the X4 jet, and then this is the controller that it came with.
I'll be darned. Look at that.
Wow.
it looks like a Hudson controller. Look, it's got a big smiley face on it.
Yep. So this will be my little first getting into FPV.
There
And
you
you
go.
have a battery and you have a charger.
Yep.
Well, that's cool, Steve. I mean, my first FPV bird that was really an FPV bird was the Bug 6. And it was completely stabilized, but it got you into the game, and it was a cool bird to fly.
Right. This was a gift from Kelly Shore, Ready Set Drone,
Oh, cool. Very nice.
that I got as subscriber of the month, that I've yet to fly it.
There you go. Okay, well, we'll be waiting for that video, Steve.
Most people seem to start with these.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, the little tiny hawks or
I
this
got
kind
all
of
three of
thing.
them now.
And they're great. They're great fun to fly. But the point I was going to make was, at the rate that technology is going, and at the rate that all this stuff is sinking, it may be that we won't even have to worry about that 250 gram nonsense, because it very well may be in 5 years' time, when they finally enact all of these new laws, that the flying experience you get from a 100 gram drone will be pretty much the same as the flying experience we get these days from the bigger quads. And
Yeah.
what
That's true
and
for
what
that.
kind of showed me that was those flights with this little 3.5 inch. This thing only weighs about 300 grams. It's not much, you know. You don't have to go much smaller. And I've got a 3-inch quad that, with the battery, weighs 230 grams. Okay, but
Which
this
one is
one's
that
got this is
Oh,
the
okay.
Acrobrat. This has got the DJI digital system. But Bardwell just there's a new one called a Beetle. I forget who puts
Oh,
it
I
out,
saw that.
but it's got the full blown DJI air unit in it and everything,
Friends
and it's under 250 grams. And I can tell you that flying these smaller drones it feels, and you hear the guy say, well, it feels like I'm flying a 5-inch. Well, it absolutely does. And when you got the goggles on and you're up there flying,
You don't know
does
the
it
size of
really
the quad.
make a lot
No
of
idea.
difference to you, whether it's a
No, you don't
3-inch
know.
quad or a 10-inch quad?
No,
if
you don't
if you
know
want
at
to
all.
just enjoy the flying. So I'm saying that
Talking
may
about
be
the Transtech or something like that.
Beetle,
it's called?
yeah, the Beetle, yeah. Beautiful, and
saw
and
that
he
yesterday.
had Vanover flying it there. He had Drew Ladrib flying it, and he was flying it, and they were blown away by it. The only difference, as he said, was that when you go to launch it somewhere, it doesn't, like launch it backwards into a maneuver. It's not going to have the momentum that a heavier quad would have. But as far as flying the thing and doing all the maneuvers and everything, I think that that's going to be the way we're going to go. Ed, I got a couple people looking very impatient in the green room. So Ed, you got to go. I see.
I
Thanks for
gotta go.
Thanks for coming in, buddy. We'll see you Sunday night, huh?
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
What
my
is
friend.
it? What time, Ed? What
Sunday
time
night
is it?
right after Mel. Whenever
That's
Mel
8
gets
o'clock?
done, 8 o'clock. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Later, everybody.
Oh,
Later,
yeah.
guys. Take care.
Take care. Thanks for coming in. And buried in my green room, of course, below, I have Mr. Chris Hope.
Oh, I thought it was St. Carlson.
I
St.
know.
Carlson. Oh my goodness. What's up, Carlos?
How are you? Because to Chris Hope.
Nick, how you
How
guys
you doing, Chris?
He didn't get any special music, Mitch.
Howdy, Chris.
Oh.
There it is.
Oh.
Brother Chris. Oh,
Hey,
there
y'all.
he is. There's Brother Carlson.
There's Brother Carlson. Had two of them out there at one time. I didn't know what to do. I was so excited.
Hello, Art. Chris, how are you?
Steve, how you doing, my man?
How are you?
I'm
Chris, I hope you're not insulted that I didn't find special music for you.
Man,
He needs something from the South, like
I've
Cow
never had
or
special music, so I'm
a
good.
bull.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You know, has everybody gotten to see my new opening?
Hmm.
Yep.
Have you all seen
Fancy?
that? No, the new opening that I have for my video,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
the introduction. Yeah, I've used it 3 times so far. Twice on the
You
last
want
2
us to see it
videos,
again? I
and
think you
once
should show
tonight.
us.
No. What I'm saying is that in making that video, I needed some sound effects, and one of the sound effects that I needed was for a fanfare. I wanted to have a fanfare, you know, and I thought that having a really nice fanfare to bring me in would be the thing. So I downloaded about 10 of these fanfares, and let me see if I could actually get one of these things to play here so you can hear it.
Chris, it's 6:14 where you are.
Yes, sir. It's 6:14, and the sun is down.
6:15.
Did you hear that?
The sun is up. It sounds. I mean, it looks like, right? Sun is up.
I'm sitting in my pickup facing the west, so I
Can you guys hear that?
No.
No? Can't hear the music? Okay, hang on a second. Let me make sure. You couldn't
Hear
hear the
you.
music.
Sun's been down here for a while.
Yeah, no, our sunset today was 6, and tomorrow I believe is 6:01. So the days are getting a little bit longer finally.
Yeah. Mm.
I don't know why that didn't work. I'm playing this thing, and
Hello, Mel and Ray Kelly and Lloyd and Jody and Phantom.
I don't see the chat, so I hope nobody thinks I'm rude.
Ray
I was
Kelly,
trying to-
EBR,
trying to
Love
say
My
hello,
Drone,
everybody.
Timeless
I'm driving in
Truths,
a little
Rick
bit.
Halber's here. You guys are all here. Brandon is here.
Chris
oh,
Hope is going to do
scroll down.
FPV one
Oh,
day.
Lloyd is still here.
Yeah.
Lloyd is still
Gotta
here.
go to the store.
You say FPV, Carlos?
Are you
And
going to try FPV one day or no?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I would love to, but my time has gotten very limited here in the last
Oh, okay.
couple months.
All right. First things first.
Mel
Yeah,
is
I
here.
got to take care of the homestead first, and that's kind of where
Absolutely.
I'm at right
Good evening,
Hi,
Mr.
Mel.
Mel.
Trying
Didn't
to
say
high
anything.
five Art over here.
man, got full house now. Look at this.
Where are you at, Chris?
now. I am at my farm on top of a hill.
Oh,
Place, yeah, this young man's got the place at least to run his cows. He's had a bull up here for 2 weeks that does not like to stay inside a fence, and I just met him on the road, and he's gone. He's off. Thank God. I watched a 2,000-pound bull jump a 4-foot chain link fence yesterday afternoon, and he didn't never touch nothing.
Oh,
Wow.
oh,
I said, dude, man, I said, you got to get him out of here. I said, I don't live on the highway, but the highway is, probably a half mile away. I said, he does not need to get down there, so he'll kill somebody
yeah.
if he gets hit. So he's gone. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing, Carlos. I bought my grandmother's farm, my grandparents' old farm, and I'm going to redo the old house. I've been working on it, but I have been fixing fence for the last month.
Wow.
We fix fence, and this bull get out. We fix fence, this bull get out.
And what do you have to dig the poles all over again?
No, he didn't the poles, but he's running over the T-posts. He's running through the barbed wire fence, pulling
Oh,
off the
okay.
T-posts.
Wow.
The cattle panel. We come up here yesterday, and the cattle panels. He laid one of them completely on the ground, and the cattle panel is 10 foot long. And it's got 3 T-posts per panel. It just destroyed it. Then we got him pinned up on another little lot I got up here, and he cleared a chain link fence.
Wow.
Jeez.
Boy.
Boom.
Time
boom.
Yeah.
to put some electricity on that fence.
Yeah.
I don't think that stopped him.
Freezer.
Y'all remember the slit smoke liquor bull?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what he looked like yesterday.
Oh no. Was he chasing girls or what's the deal?
No, his girls are all pregnant. They're all having calves right now. He ain't got nothing to do to tear my fence up.
Need to get some more girls for him.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
restless.
Keep that
I think
boy
he's got
busy.
he's got 16 up here, and but 2 of them's already had calves, so the rest of them
Holy
fixing to
mackerel.
start having calves.
Wow.
Freezer.
Mess.
Yeah.
Freezer, yeah,
Freezer
freezer.
hasn't like kill them and chop them.
But that's where
Well,
my
you-
tax in here is.
Tenderloins and ribeyes, by God.
So you're a cowboy, in other words.
Well, I know how
He's
to
a
cowboy,
rancher.
I'm just not a cowboy. I know how to fix fence and fool with them.
Are you an urban cowboy?
Cowboy. I'm not
Urban.
a cowboy.
No, a rancher.
I just plain old Chris, man. That's me.
Actually, I think Chris didn't he say he takes care of some kind of machines you watch or you monitor, right?
I've
You
been
said
in the natural gas pipeline
natural. Okay.
/ storage business for since I was 18. So
Yeah,
Wow.
and during his off time, he's just trying to put fencing all around the property.
we bought this place, and I put up right at 1,500 foot of a 5-strand fence. Now he didn't tear it up, praise the Lord, but the rest of the fence.
Can you raise his volume at all, Mitch?
Can I raise Chris's
Chris's.
volume?
Just a little.
How about I scoot up a little bit?
Nah, we hear
I-
you, but if you can boost it a little.
Do I have that ability in
No.
I thought you did.
StreamYard? I don't think so. Had it in
Oh, okay.
Hangouts, we could do it, but not in StreamYard.
Mm.
No.
Never mind.
Now you
So
guys
Ray Kelly said that he went all the way to Key West and found out that it's a no-fly zone.
Oh no.
Well,
Yeah,
there's a
really.
big naval. Not only that, but they got one of those Fat Albert blimps down there. You know, the radar blimps at the Naval Air Station. It's up around 14,000 feet, if I remember correctly. And
Really?
of course, there's a tether all the way from that thing to the ground, which is something you need to look out for when you're flying.
14,000 foot tether?
Yeah,
Is that-
and the tether.
Wow.
We actually. So I had an interesting story at one of my EAA Experimental Aircraft Association.
What
I
is
used to
that
be a
made
member
out
of.
of? It's got to be
I'm
like
just-
steel.
If you just keep
stranded
quiet, I'll tell
steel.
you. I was just going to
Oh, is
tell
that
you
what
that.
you were gonna
I was
tell
just
us?
about to tell you the story.
Oh, okay. Once upon a time.
Once upon a time, I was a member of the EAA chapter in Orlando, Florida. EAA is Experimental Aircraft Association. This is for the guys that fly home-built airplanes and all these other kinds of, or warbird fanatics and things like that. In my EAA chapter, we had Richard Bouchard, who was a U-2 pilot during the Gary Powers era,
Wow.
and we had a lot of retired Air Force guys. We had oh God, you know, you forget the names. The guy who shit. I'm embarrassed that I forgot his name because I used to know him very well. But
It
he
happens.
was the guy that back in the 50s or 60s jumped out of the 100,000 foot in space off a balloon.
Oh, that guy?
Yeah,
You
he
knew
was
that
a
guy?
member. Yeah, and his name will come to me, but
Kittering.
Kittinger.
Kittinger.
Yeah, Kittinger. That's right. Yeah, and he'd be out at the airport where I kept my airplanes, and he'd be flying this or that, the other thing. And he was a funny guy. He drove a little British taxi cab with right hand drive around, and just a great guy. And he got involved also with the latest attempt of the guy that broke his record, that jumped from the capsule up there, the balloon, 100-something thousand feet. Metro Drones, thank you very much, sir. Happy Thursday to you too. Thanks for coming in. So he was a member of my EAA chapter, and we used to have speakers come in. We used to have people come in and talk, interesting guys who flew bombers in World War II, all kinds of stuff. This was back in the 90s, 80s and 90s, so this was 30 years ago. And we had one guy came in who was working the balloon program for all of these, they called them Fat Alberts, these big radar balloons that go up and down the coast. And he was talking about, he did a whole presentation on these things. And the cable on those things is about 1.25 inches thick. And it is 1/8 inch of polypropylene surrounding a very high fiber count nylon strands, millions of or tens of thousands of fibers. The tensile strength on this cable was in the millions of pounds. It was incredible. And the reason they needed the cable that was that strong was that when not the wind but the heat. When the sun heated up that thing, the pressure up was 50, 60, 70,000, tremendous pressure. And then when it got cool, the things would start to sink down, and they'd have to wind the cables in. All right, thank you, buddy. Look at that. Thank you so much. And he was telling stories about some of the antics that they got into with these balloons going up and down out there. And he told a story one day about the thing started to come down, and there was a guy with like one of these 60, 70 foot big ocean fishing boats out there. And he was going to be a hero. He managed to get the cable, got out there and got a hold of the cable. It broke, it was loose. And he tied it off to his boat. And then they decided they were going to take the balloon. You know what's coming. They're going to take the balloon back the next morning. Well, the sun came up, the balloon started to rise, and just lifted the boat out of the water, broke the transom. The boat went down. The transom and the balloon went away. And he was showing us pictures of this stuff, and it was just a great presentation. But we were talking about Key West, and if you look at any sectional chart, when you look at Key West, you'll see that little circle on there at the Naval Air Station where that balloon is, and there's a big no-fly area around it, around the whole cable and everything, because you're out there flying along a couple hundred miles an hour, and that hit that cable, and they don't care about you. They're worried about their balloon, but still, it's not going to be any fun. But after that story, it leads me to a question I wanted to ask Chris about the Mavic Mini, and maybe some of you other guys know. Do they still have geofencing?
Yes.
Okay, so all that crap about you don't have to obey any laws because it's below 250 doesn't mean anything when it comes to no-fly zones.
The only thing I can see about the 250 is you don't have to register. Everything else still applies.
Okay,
Yes, exactly correct.
That makes sense.
That's exactly correct.
Because you hear all these guys talk about this is what you're going to be flying when the laws come in and all that stuff, but still, you still got to obey most of the laws we have today.
Yeah, I don't
think those laws are actually going to come into effect.
I think it's going to be
the ones that are in now, the 400 feet and all that, the safety, but all this that you can't fly and everybody's worried, I don't think it's going to happen.
Well,
I don't see drones delivering with cold weather, hot weather, windy weather, rainy weather, and windy. It's too many variables to have this autonomous delivery, I believe. And then the first accident that somebody's going to get hit in the head with something or a tree, and it's going to be over. Party's over.
I got 2 emails from my model airplane club today. The first one is how to comment on the NPRM. And it's a whole long ass thing about, how you should write up your comment on that. And then the second email is a video, and it's called Saving Model Aviation. So the AMA, at least that's good news that the AMA is at this point starting to get active. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that video called Saving Model Aviation and get past the commercial and let me see what it looks like. And I'll put the link to that in the chat here. It's an AMA video. It's
You know who did a good little thing on that was a guy in New Jersey.
53 minutes
Drone
long.
Valley. Have you ever seen Drone Valley?
Oh
I
yeah,
think-
I've seen a lot of these things, but at
You
any
did a
rate,
good
this is one that you might want to look at. So I got that in the email today, so I share it with you guys in
Yeah.
the chat.
Also, Russ at 51 Drones did a very good one on it.
Well, you know, Russ at 51 Drones is kind of the model that I'm using for my live stream, because remember when he first started out, his whole deal was that, you know, learn it along with me. I'm just a beginner. I'm just starting out, you know, and that's how he started his channel.
Mhm.
I'm looking at the chat here. Yeah. So at any rate, that's coming. I had a little observation, and I hope it doesn't sound too negative, but
Uh-oh.
yeah, I've dealt with all of these government types all my life.
Right?
In the building business, it was always with zoning boards and licensing boards and building inspectors it's always somebody wanting to regulate what you do, tell you how to do what you do, or and most of these people who are government employees are not elected people. They're people who are lifetime government employees. They're bureaucrats. They do what the hell they want. They don't care what you think, because you're a pain in the ass that they have to deal with. If it wasn't for you, they'd have a great job. You know, if they didn't have to deal with you and your problems, what a wonderful job they would have.
They'd have nothing to do all day.
Yeah, they'd have nothing to do, but they'd be wonderful, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of businesses look at their customers as being a pain in the ass, and that's a terrible way. But in government, they can do that because they don't need anything from you. It's usually the other way around. They can stick their hand in your pocket anytime they want. So I'm watching all this. I was in a particularly bad mood on Wednesday. On Wednesday, after I watched the Senate, I'm going to talk a little politics here because it's important, because it does relate to our hobby. I watched the Senate do their acquittal vote, and I watched the whole thing. And as I watched it, I also watched the whole case. And you know, anybody that's got half an open mind has got to realize that there was no impeachable crime here. I don't care what anybody says. Compared to what some of these other administrations have done, man, if this was impeachable, theirs were firing squad level stuff. So I watched this. Now here we have 100 senators.
Right.
Okay, 100 senators.
Mm-hmm.
47 to 53. Well, 48 to 52, because, you know, when somebody said not all the Republicans voted for acquittal, my answer is yes, all the Republicans voted for acquittal. If you know what I'm saying. Art's laughing. He knows what I mean. Yeah, there's one guy in there that may call himself a Republican, but he's no Republican, you know.
Yeah.
So they all watched the same. They all started this trial by taking an oath, and that in that oath they said that they were going to put aside partisanship, that they were going to fairly weigh and look at all the evidence, that they were going to make their decision based on what's right and honest and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched through their presentations, through their questions, I watched the whole farce of a case, which costs us taxpayers millions of dollars for them to go through this drill, and all kinds of crap. The outcome of which, always known, predetermined, that there was never a chance that 66% of these people were going to vote him guilty.
Which wasn't their final. That's not what they wanted at the end of the day.
Well,
They didn't want
that's not the point I'm trying to make, Carlos. The point I'm trying to make is this: with all the promises of impartiality, with all the bullshit, we're eager to find the truth. We want to know the truth. God bless us. We just want to. We want fairness. They all voted, every one of them, right down party lines. Every one of those people who said they wanted to be fair voted guilty on the most bullshit thing I've ever seen in my life. So there's 47 people who had decided how they were going to vote, what they were going to vote, and everything long before they ever went in there and took that oath. Okay? And my point is that the FAA is the same. Nothing. We are naive to think that anything that we say, short of threats that mean something to them, that might cost them their jobs or have them thrown in jail, is going to change their mind when they decide they want to do something. And I can tell you that. So all these, I hate to be a naysayer, but writing comments and begging and pleading, oh, please, Mr. FAA, this is our hobby. We love it. Okay. It doesn't mean anything to bureaucrats who don't have to answer to us in the next election. It is unfortunate that it is that way, but it is the way it is. Now, I don't know what the answer is when a government agency goes ballistic like they have on a hobby or on a problem that doesn't exist. In other words, you've got people trying to solve a non-existent problem here. And I don't know how to fix this. I know that it's not.
Just fly. Just go out and fly.
Go out and fly. But all of this stuff the AMA is doing, and all of these things, yeah, maybe they can lobby somebody somewhere. We just went through this in the cigar industry, and I was just put out of the cigar business after 5 years of this exact same thing from the FDA. Okay, same thing. We had lobby groups. We donated money. We hired lawyers. We did this. The big tobacco companies did all this other stuff. We lobbied senators. We had the CRA, the Cigar Retailers Association. We had all of this crap. It wasn't big enough to even get them to turn their heads. Okay, our entire effort.
Because they had their minds made up.
They had their minds made up, and
doesn't matter.
There was nothing, and they had us in limbo in the cigar industry for 5 years, not knowing whether we were going to be able to be in the business tomorrow. And you know something? After 5 years, they still haven't made up their mind. They still have not finalized these things, and yet
and that's what are they making their minds up on?
Their minds are, they want to do to the cigar business like the FAA wants to do to the drone business. Anything that you manufacture has to be pre-approved by us. We have to do chemical analysis on these cigars. We have to have lab tests. We have to know everything about them, how they're grown. We don't know what percentage of each tobacco is in the cigar. We got to know what the wrappers are. You have to submit the package. Let me finish. You have to submit the packaging to us for approval. Once we approve this cigar for import, you can import it, but you can't change a thing. You can't change a letter on the packaging. You can't change a tobacco that you put in that cigar. If you want to make the slightest change in that cigar, by God, you got to start all over again. And it's going to cost you $100,000 to $1 million to get one of these things through all of our lab tests, just like it does to get a drug to market. Okay? And that's what they proposed they were going to do. And they kept saying, well, we're going to do it on such and such a date. We're going to do it on such and such a date. Meanwhile, we're in the business. We're trying to decide what to grow, what to roll, what to make, and where to put our money. And the fear being that by the time we finally grow the tobacco, make the cigars, age the cigars, and get them ready to import, we've paid for them, and the law will hit, and they'll say, you can't bring that stuff in this country. And then we lost everything. So we got out of it. We just, we can't be in the business under this uncertainty.
Yeah.
So we stopped. And the same thing, guys, the same pattern, the same path is what the FAA is doing right now. And I understand there might be a need for some control of these things in the air, but what they're proposing at this point is draconian and unacceptable. Complain all you want, nobody's going to read it. Nobody's going to read it. It's going to take somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that can put the fear of God in some of these bureaucrats.
Right.
And that's going to have to be at a level way above me, above my pay grade.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's-
gonna,
It's going to take an accident to happen, and then all of this will go away.
the somebodies that have to have the somebodies, we're talking what, Washingtons and Jacksons and, right?
Yeah,
Those guys.
Lincolns.
Those
Yeah.
are the guys that know who to make it work.
And more than likely, guys, most of us here in this panel will not live to be old enough to ever see this stuff finally get settled. So we just go the rest of our life doing what we're doing. Because this is the way the government works. They claim it's going to be a year and a half in study, then 3 years in implementation. They have no clue what they're doing yet. You know, they have no idea.
To give you a good example, Mitch, our harbor here, which we started a nonprofit association, it's now 18 years since I started. 2.5 years ago, it was approved. But before that, they started to try to what they called revitalization as a county asset. 21 years it took to get it approved.
Yeah.
And then they're not doing it. They actually did a P3, public-private partnership, with an outside firm that's coming in now that has the lease on all this, the harbor, and they're the ones that are going to build it out and remodel it. 21 years.
Yeah. So I wanted to share that with you because this is the first, when I was watching that Senate thing, watching these guys that had their minds made up, regardless of logic, regardless of truth, justice, and the American way, they're going to do what they're going to do for their own agendas and political purposes, and nothing's going to change anything. And if that defense that was put on for these people couldn't convince them that Donald Trump wasn't the greatest menace to threaten this country or this world,
Yeah.
then nothing. What are we going to do to convince the federal government and the FAA? Now, I think that it probably wouldn't hurt to write a comment, and I'm going to write a comment, and my comment is going to be probably one paragraph, and it's going to say things. It's going to say what I feel. It's not going to be nasty, but it's going to, please explain to me what it is that you're trying to solve. Tell me what the problem is first before you tell me what the solution is, because you haven't. They just like with the impeachment. They tried to convict the guy and there was no crime, and they couldn't even define a crime. Well, find a crime first, and then tell me why we're guilty of it. Find a problem. When you look, more people are getting killed slipping in a bathtub. Bye, Carlos.
No, I'm saying I can define the problem.
Oh,
The problem is you're going to get in the way of Amazon, Walmart, and UPS and USPS and all the big businesses. Domino
That's
Pizza.
great. I would bet you right now that in 5 years' time, from now, there's no delivery drones flying all over.
I
the place.
agree. Also, it's not going to happen, but that's the reason they're trying to do all this.
But
It's
I'm
the
not
only
going to
area
be in their way.
Say again.
I'm not going to be in their way.
Oh, I understand that, but they're making sure.
No,
And maybe
they will be in my way.
Well, maybe it's possible that your electronics will get in the way while you're
I
flying.
want to see. That's what's going to happen. I mean, think about this.
We all just need to take the air. Make them
No,
be
not
in
only
our
that,
way.
but
Just
how many people are going to come up that don't like those things flying over their houses are going to come up with jammers? It's just going to knock them right out of the sky. I mean, you don't need to shoot them with a gun. You need to, you do it. They've already got all these drone, anti-drone devices that send signals that disrupt the drone's mind. Anyway,
all you need in most cases is a multispectral transmitter that covers everything from 2.4 to 5.8 gigahertz.
Oh yeah, you'd screw up
And
every.
you will jam almost every video transmission there is.
Well, they have gizmos you can take. You know, there are people that have these cell phone jammers, and they take them into restaurants when they go eat, and the people in the restaurants can't use their cell phones and bother them while they're eating. They're illegal, but they do it. I don't know.
Right.
I keep
I don't think it's
getting
a problem.
I
think
keep
you
getting
said it,
all of
though.
these emails about this problem, like it's immediate.
It's not
And
a problem.
I just refuse to even pay any attention to it until they tell me, something not, something concrete and when it's going to happen.
Just
What can we do? What can we do?
enjoy the hobby.
Yep.
Can I ask you another question, Mitch? Since you used Trump as the example
Yeah.
to create your scenario, I have a question that I would really like your opinion on, and maybe everyone else would too. Do you have an opinion, or will you voice your opinion on why there's been no investigations of the emails,
So
the $1 million a year to the Bidens,
Oh,
and all
well,
that stuff? How come none of that
Yeah, I
stuff,
have. I mean,
how come none of that
I
stuff
have.
is being investigated?
The reason is here's. I'll just tell you. I'll tell you one thing that
it's not
that
convenient.
I've learned. It's very simple. And if any of you know who Dan Bongino is, you got to watch him. You got to watch him every day. He's without a doubt the most informative and best guy. And his theory, after 3 years of doing daily shows on this and investigations and writing 2 books. The first one called Spygate, the second one called Exonerated. He has chronicled the entire thing and tied virtually all of these people together, all of them, from the Hillary days to Obama spying on not only Trump's campaign, but on Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio. He's tied all of the same players. The whistleblower today, whose name we're not allowed to mention on YouTube, who everybody knows, worked for Joe Biden back in the old days. He arranged and escorted people into the White House who were Ukrainians, the same Ukrainians that are involved in this false bullshit today. It is all mapped out. Devin Nunes knows the whole story. Barr knows the whole story. The Clintons are knee deep in it with their foundation. They are up to their up to their elbows in their foundation. All the same players, all the same oligarchs. The uranium sale to the Russians is all interwoven into this. The that Silicon Valley thing in Russia that they were going to do, which was a way
So
that
how
Russia
come-
was going to
how
steal all
come-
our secrets, is
Don't
all.
forget John
Here's
Kerry. Don't
here's
forget
the thing. I told a friend yesterday. I said, tell you what. The day after they end this a 3-year assault on Donald Trump, this time, in other words, with a final, you're acquitted. The next day, keep your ears open. I'm telling you, Mel, from what I've heard, right or wrong, I might be misled too, the shit is going to hit the fan on all of it. All of it.
It's about time.
It is, but those people, now, the way these bastards play the game, unfortunately, is they play dirty. You don't think they have something on our Chief Justice that causes him to do the strange things? You don't think they got something on him somewhere that they're blackmailing the hell out of him? You don't think they got something on old Mitt Romney? These people don't play right. They play dirty. Okay.
Well,
when
yeah,
anybody's-
we all know what Mitt Romney done wrong. He carried his dog in a dog carrier on the roof of the
it's
station
worse
wagon, for
it's
Christ's
worse
sake.
than that. It's worse than that. But at any rate, anybody that you just don't know. You just don't know why people do what they do. You don't know whose kid they got tied up in a basement somewhere. You don't. This is true for witnesses. This is true for the game is very dirty. But I can tell you that from what I've seen and what I've heard, this is not a secret anymore, and it's all been put together. And what Dan Bongino says on his show every day is the reason that they have kept this as an offensive move against Trump was because they're all connected, and they all have something to hide. That's what he says. They're all connected,
Right.
and they all have something to hide, and it's all going to come out. So I'm hoping he's right.
Mitch, I just want to jump in real quick. I just got this in the mail today. I got the impeachment pen, but it doesn't work.
Did you see? There's a meme out there. Trump tearing up the impeachment. It was on the cover of was it the New York Post today? Had Trump tearing up the impeachment papers.
I gotta go, Mitch.
All right.
Hey, Chris, good to see you. Thanks. Yeah, we're going to wind it up here pretty soon, but
Good to see you, man.
Take
Good
care.
to see you, Chris.
Y'all take
care,
Thanks,
buddy.
Be
guys.
careful, brother. Be careful.
you know you got to talk politics now. But this has been such an eventful week.
Oh yeah.
Between the screw up in Iowa was
Oh,
was-
yeah.
What a
was-
fiasco.
yeah. And then they come, and then the Dems are mad because the Republicans are laughing at them.
Yeah.
You know, saying things like, "And these are the people you want running your healthcare system."
Yeah.
Oh, and the funny thing about it is now those voters, what? He's gay? Oh,
That's the one I was just laughing about. That lady said, "Wait, he's married to another man? I don't want somebody like that." No, like, so what?
I don't know if we're
you vote. Like, I don't understand. People don't. They don't vet who they're voting for.
Yeah.
But
they don't know that they
what
listen to.
criteria do they?
Well,
do
they listen
they
to
don't.
all the typical left-wing mainstream fake
Wow.
news, you know, and
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No doubt. But the word is
Apparently, people only listen to like one or two news stations, and that's it. And they just
The best part about it was the app was built by the same people doing Hillary Clinton and the DNC. They were the ones that created this app that crashed.
They were probably also involved in the creation of the Obamacare website. Remember that fiasco?
yeah.
You got 100, Steve. You got 100 people in a room. 100 people.
Yep.
You know,
And
one,
it's supposed
two,
to be
three.
thousands.
Well, but they got 170 some precincts with 100 each. So it's 170,000 people, right? But in each precinct, they only had to count 100 people.
Yeah.
And say, okay, there's 100 people. Count them. There's a pencil and a paper. I say, let's see, that's 25 for Bernie, 24 for Buttigieg. And then they couldn't even do that. And they want to run my healthcare system.
No, you know what it is.
I'll be right back.
They don't want Bernie in.
Yeah, that's
You
what I
think? You think that's why the last poll results never came out?
Yep.
It's the same thing that happened to
no,
him
it's
at the last election.
Buttigieg and Bernie are right next to each other with
Now-
Warren.
now-
and that's the one.
Imagine this. It's true. Imagine this now, Steve. Imagine this. They screw Bernie out of this.
Yeah.
Bernie gets pissed off
Again.
and decides to run third party. So
And-
now the Democrats have to divide their votes up among Buttigieg and Bernie. Game over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like
already game
It's like
over.
Ross Perot did. It's like
Yep.
Ross Perot did to us. You know, I mean,
Yep.
I don't think the
forget-
impeachment trial helped the Democrats in any way.
oh, are you kidding? It was the biggest disaster of the planet. It showed them for the first time they were forced to show who they really are.
Yep.
You know, they always claim to be moderates, middle of the road, and then they get in power and they become wild socialist liberals.
Am I the only one that looks at Nancy Pelosi and thinks she's a little out there? Like she actually
No,
looks.
you're
a
not
little
the you're not the only one.
Okay.
You're not.
So I
the
was telling
only
my
one.
wife, look at her. She just you look at her and she just doesn't look like she's playing with a full deck.
And now
Something's
she actually started to make little tears in those sheets all during the thing to get
Yeah.
ready for the big finale where she could tear it up in his face.
Mhm.
Because I got to tell you something, man. If she did to me what she did to, if I was Donald Trump and she had done to me, you hear me? If she had done to me what she did to Trump, I wouldn't have shaken her hand. I would have done something else with my hand,
I don't
involving a certain finger.
Yeah.
think he saw her hand, Mitch, to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
If I watched back and I played that back over and over in different angles to see it. And
Yeah.
the way he handed the speech to Pence and then to her, he was turning away at the time. There's no
Oh, I agree. But I do think, Steve, that he did that on purpose. I think that he specifically did not want to engage her in any way. So I think he turned around, handed a speech, I'm out of here. So I think that it was a snub. I think it was meant to be a snub, and I was happy to see it, because if there's anybody that should be snubbed, it's her.
Right. Oh, and don't forget, I have former Congressman Thaddeus McCotter on Arts Place this Sunday. So
Cool.
that's
Cool. I have no
nice.
idea who that is.
Oh, have you watched Red Eye with Greg Gutfeld? He was kind of a semi-regular on that show.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Well, I probably recognize him when I see him.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be great, Art, on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, Sunday.
Well, you know, if the weather's not good, I'll be happy to. We have to have our priorities in order.
Yeah.
No, come on, Art. I'm one of your regulars. I hardly ever miss your show.
Yeah.
I'm
Sure,
always there. I'm always there for you.
Sure.
Ray Kelly says, "Great State of the Union." Ray, it was the greatest
Yeah.
State of the Union.
Yeah.
It was the greatest, and he
In
worked.
my lifetime, it's without a doubt the greatest.
He worked those Democrats like a puppet master.
Right.
He forced them to embarrass themselves at every turn. He forced them to sit down for a little 13-year-old black girl. He forced them to sit down for a soldier returning
To his family.
home. He forced them to not accept or applaud everything that this country, virtually everything that this country feels worthy of applauding. And,
How about that Medal of Honor?
Rush. Oh man, that brought tears to my eyes. It really did.
That look on Rush's face was like priceless.
Yeah, but I've been listening to Rush Limbaugh. I saw him in the '80s, in the late '80s, in Orlando on his Rush to Excellence tour, and I've been listening to him ever since. This was before he started his syndicated radio show.
Right.
He had a local radio show, but he didn't have the EIB network at the time. But this was in the '80s. This was over 30 years ago, and some things I disagree with him on. Most things I do agree with him, but
He only
felt-
recently started voting, right? With Clinton, he started voting. He got exposed that he wasn't voting prior to
Really?
Clinton. Yeah.
I don't blame him, to tell you the truth.
Right.
It's going to be interesting. And anyway, we did stray. We did talk. We're going to have plenty of time on Sunday to
Yeah.
talk drones. So
Oh,
we're going
and
to
go check out my video, my salute to Rush Limbaugh.
I saw that.
Yeah,
You
did. And-
at the end of the video, you should have said, "I'm not crying. I'm not crying. not crying. Not crying."
Does Rush Limbaugh smoke? Like, did he smoke?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, he's a cigar smoker, but he smoked cigarettes most of his life. Don't you? He always talks about his formerly nicotine-stained fingers.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was a cigarette smoker all his life, and
I
then he
used to
switched to
listen to him like
cigars.
that. What was
and
the
they
other
switched
guy?
to cigars.
Is
Neil
Bob
Bortz.
Grant still alive?
I don't
Remember
know.
Bob
But Neil,
Grant?
no,
He had a
Neil
radio-
Bortz. Neil Bortz was my guy. Remember Neil Bortz?
Okay,
I
yeah.
He was
remember
great.
Bob Grant. And Lionel. I like Lionel. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Lionel was good.
Well, guys,
All right. Well,
we did it.
you did it.
We did it.
One thing I just want to add
Okay.
Certainly.
that was not brought up, and Art may bring this up during his show on Sunday, but people are forgetting what this was in the Senate. This was their Dems were looking at not just to impeach Trump. they're looking after, especially with the bringing Romney over. This is my own opinion. They're after the Senate because they think that they can hold on to the House, and what they're trying to do is infiltrate the Senate and doing what they were doing. This whole thing is premeditated for that.
I agree.
You don't
They
think
said
the
that.
Democrats are gonna
And
lose
Chuck
seats?
and Schumer wants to be the head deal. So
Right.
boy, wouldn't that be horrible?
Yeah.
I thought the Democrats would lose seats as a result
Oh,
of their
I'm
vote.
sure they will.
I think
Yeah.
I think that it unless we still got plenty of time before the election. Who knows what the hell else they're going to kick up? Schiff is already at it. Schiff's already trying to get one of these Russian guys that's deeply involved in their plot arrested to get him off the market so that he can't. This was what Dan Bongino was talking about today. He's already back at it. Schiff is trying to get rid of all the people that he needs to cover their own asses in their involvement in this scandal. And I think it's too late for that now. I think it's too late, and too many people know too much. And I think Trump's a much smarter cookie than any of them give him credit for.
Not many politicians go to jail. I hope you're right. I don't see it.
Tell that to Rostenkowski.
Yeah. Some of the Democrats deserve to be in jail. Ray Kelly, thank you so much. And Lloyd's got to eat now, and I've got to go now. Art, I'm surprised you're hanging around, man. You're going to be late.
Yeah, you better run, Art.
Art-
Heroin is on.
Okay, heroin. Yeah, I said that the other day in my video after hearing Mikey say heroin all the time. Did you
I
hear
heard
that at the
that.
beginning of my video?
Yeah.
I actually did a false start, and I used that as the opener. I got to the point where I said, Ken, right after Ken heroin, and then I started to laugh, and I said, "Thanks a lot, Mikey."
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week, and you guys on Sunday. So
Okay,
Take care,
Art.
brother. Carlson.
Take
All
care,
right.
Art.
bye.
Bye,
Yeah.
Art. You're supposed to back out. There you go. All right, Carlos. Thanks for coming in, man.
Adios, sir. I'll catch you Sunday. if all goes
Sunday,
well.
Sunday night. Be there or be square.
Yes, sir. Take care.
All right,
Bye,
take care.
Steve, Mel.
Take
All right.
care.
Take
Go
care.
Hawks.
And Steve, thanks for coming in. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you. Have a great night. Take care, everybody in chat.
Thank you. Take care. And Mel, that leaves Mel's clock. So I don't know where Mel is, but that just leaves me. So I guess I'm going to have to say goodnight to Mel. Mel, if you can hear me, good night. I will see you on Sunday in your chat room, and then we'll move over to mine. And thanks for coming in, buddy. I really appreciate it. So we will say goodnight to you, and that just leaves me and the monkey. And bring in my music. Oh, wrong music. God, I still got Art's music in here. All right, here we go. Bring in my music. Take ourselves out of here. Oh, there's Mel. Okay. Ah, there he is. Okay, Mel, we're back on the air.
Oh, I was just saying, okay, it looks like you're going to finish up, huh?
I was, and then I saw you in there, and I figured I'll bring you back in and officially say goodnight to you. So
Well, I appreciate that. Good night, everybody. Good night, Mitch.
Oh.
Thanks for having us on.
always.
I
I'll
had
see
to-
you Sunday night. I'll be
I had
in
to
your
go
chat
take care
room
of
Sunday
something.
night. I know how that
Oh,
goes. I'm
okay.
about ready to do it myself. I
Yeah.
will. I will see you Sunday night in your chat room, and then we'll move over to my place.
Yeah, and I'd like to do a little plug, if I may,
Sure.
for Oz by Drone. Tomorrow night, he has a special show he's going to do. You know how you do live streaming via the RTMP server setup? Custom RTMP?
Yeah.
He has a server in Texas. I'm not sure if you know, but I know some of the folks in your chat know because they visit his channel as well. He's going to set up his server and give us the RTMP login and assign each of us a stream key. And we're all going to stream via his server. And then he's going to pull that stream and broadcast it on his live stream tomorrow night.
I saw that. I saw his live stream today explaining that. That's going to be fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting.
So-
I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but it's going to be interesting. I'll certainly.
Well,
certainly watch.
I'm about to send him an email now because I know he's coming to life in his neck of the woods, and I'm going to ask for 2 stream keys for myself instead of just 1. And then what I will do is I will stream live from not only the Osmo Pocket, but I will also stream live simultaneously with the Osmo Action.
Man, we're going to call Guinness to come in and make sure they make a note of this for you.
I'm going to stream. If he'll give me 2 stream keys, I'm going to stream with both of those cameras simultaneously.
That'll be cool. All right, we'll be there, Mel,
Thank you.
and I'll see you Sunday on your show.
I'll be there.
Okay, take care. Good night, buddy.
Good night.
All right, let's do this again, everybody. Let's bring the music in. If I still got anybody watching, I do. Still got 10 people here, so we will say good night. Take the rest of the day off. Go play with your drones. I hope we didn't bore you too much with the politics and everything, but I had a good time tonight. I thought it was a great show, and I'm really looking forward to Sunday night where we can talk nothing but technical talk, and anybody that gets bored, they're in the wrong place. With that, guys, I will see you the next time. Turn you over to my sidekick here, Spank, the monkey, and let him say goodnight. Say goodnight, Spank.